on and he's going to get rich off the book? Since the two have started their publicity campaign, they say MAGA loyalists have claimed that he was a part of the media cabal that shielded Biden from scrutiny, no doubt. Fox News has an article that assembled all the links and all the clips. It says, I think you're mocking his stutter. You have no standing to challenge his cognitive decline. Fox News also blasted Tapper, saying that Joe Concha said it was patently insulting that Tapper was trying to rewrite history. He was part of the whole cabal of media. Tapper addressed some of the attacks, saying, while some criticism is fair, to be honest, of me certainly. Knowing then what I know now, I look back on my coverage, and I did cover some of these issues, but not enough. And I look back on it with humility. Give me a break, Jake. All right, so here was a little bit of that montage. Tom Elliott has the supercut. Remember how snarky and snobby Jake was?
Okay. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You are no. This is so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline. Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. Physically, I mean, mentally. Yeah, I think the question is physical, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him. Exactly. I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster.
Wow.
Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind Biden
once again, feel better than I sound.
Slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that the guy's a liar. Okay, so you get the point. And now he's trying to reverse that because he realizes his reputation is in the toilet. Babylon Bee had a great story on this. They said, oh my gosh, great news. Jake Tapper uncovers startling evidence that Biden's decline was covered up by Jake Tapper. Oh my gosh. He has to break the story on the lead with Jake Tapper. Evidence of the Biden decline may have been covered up by Jake Tapper. Tough story to report there, Jake. But yeah, you did it. Now, even Chuck Schumer was getting asked about this by CNN. Could Biden run again? And just like Ketanji Brown, who doesn't know what a woman is, Chuck Schumer doesn't know what a functioning human brain is.
We're just looking forward.
We're just looking forward. You can see his little smirk, even Chuck Schumer. Look at that little smirk here. Right there. You go, oh, God. Yeah, you being straight with the American public.
Look, we're just looking forward.
Would the party have been better off if we were just not for re-election?
Maybe. Right now, with the benefit of hindsight, I think most people would agree that that's the case.
Look, all this stuff about his health or, commentary that people are making in books, frankly, that's very backward looking.
Was he capable of running it?
Yeah, I was lurking in his stream.
So it's Clyburn who doesn't have the medical degree. Chuck Schumer just wants to talk about the future. Clyburn can't tell if somebody has functional cognitive abilities or not.
I gotta make a couple stops here. I gotta drop off something. A UPS package, and I gotta grab something from the store here so I don't forget on the way home. I'll let you guys listen to this while I'm in there. I'm also on Rumble, so you could pop over there or direct people over there because it's basically what the deal.
Reposition himself for this new era, and we'll see if that works out for him. But in the meantime, the American people are watching what Trump is doing, and they're liking what they're seeing.
I think it's time for a bit of a reality check, right?
It is.
We were going into late April. Donald Trump's approval rating, his net approval seemed to be falling. He seemed to be adios, amigos. People were writing his political obituary. He is rising from the dead. Look at this. Hello, Trump's net approval rating among voters. This is the Reuters Ipsos poll. Look at this. In late April, he was 8 points underwater. But look at where he was in the most recent poll among voters. He's up 7 points to a minus 1 point net favorability rating. This is not the picture I think a lot of people were thinking that we would be painting in late April. I think a lot of people expected his approval rate to keep dropping, but at least according to Reuters Ipsos, it's in fact rising.
Put this then in a larger perspective here.
Yeah, okay. So, this is just one poll, right? But let's take a look across an aggregate of polls. What are we seeing here? And I want to compare both to where Donald Trump is now versus where he was in late April, as well as where he was at this point in term number one. What you see is at minus 6 points, he is a little bit worse off than he is in the Ipsos Reuters polling, but he is considerably better than he was in late April when he was 9 points underwater. And more than that, look at this. He's nearly 10 points better than he was back in May 16th of 2017 in his first term. So what we see is Donald Trump's not just doing better than he was doing in late April of 2025. He's doing considerably better than he was doing at this point in term number one, about 10 points better than he was doing at this point in term number one.
And think about how much higher those numbers would be if the media was actually honest and fair and just gave him an opportunity, or if we had reasonable judges who weren't trying to obstruct his administration at every single turn and every opportunity. How high and what he allowed to happen because he provided cover for the lie that Joe Biden is capable and competent, and hopefully nobody buys his book. All right, so my friends, what a beautiful morning it is. Happy Friday today. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Carrie B, clipping for us. Good to see you, 51K in the house. And KB too. It's good to see everybody today. There's lots of comments today this morning. Wow, how nice to see everybody. What's going on? Mark Shaw, what's up? Thank you, Mark, is here this morning. Clipping for us is KB on this one. Says Mark Shaw says, Comey knows that threat is not credible and that he won't be prosecuted. He's just flipping the bird at Trump MAGA on all of us because he can. Yeah, I think you might be right about that. And I think you might be right that he wants to position himself as a victim who's now being attacked by Trump for an innocent observation. But everyone knows that he intended to, juice that conversation. It was kindling to spark that conversation. And I think other people might, I don't know if they would charge somebody for that, because there's a lot of people posting that stuff around and people haven't been charged for it. Like, is there any other example of any other person posting 8647 and being criminally charged with that? Probably not. So like, is it going to rise to that level? Probably not. Now you might say he knows better, and that elevates the crime. So a reasonable, there's this concept in the law called a reasonable person, and it's this objective standard. And it says, what would a reasonable person in a like mind, with a like context, like a environment, what would they do in that position? A reasonable person. Not what did that person do. What would a reasonable person do in that position? And you measure that standard in the law, right? Okay, well, a doctor who had skill sets and who was competent and all of these things, they wouldn't have cut that leg off. Oh, and that doctor did cut that leg off? Great. So the standard of care is the reasonable person, and that doctor fell below the reasonableness standard. So, and you wouldn't say, well, what would Rob do as a surgeon? I might cut that leg off. I don't know what legs are, what legs to cut. I'm not a surgeon. I don't know. So if I cut the leg off and the standard was, what does Rob do? Well, that's not the standard. The standard is a reasonable surgeon. So what would a reasonable former FBI director do in this position? Not post that, obviously, and should know better and all the things. But does that, and when I'm talking about the reasonableness standard, that's generally for civil offenses like torts, not for crimes. So reasonableness should go to a different standard for criminal mens rea, criminal mindsets, which will be something like, well, intentional, right, or reckless actions that cause some behavior, that cause some outcome that elevates it from criminal to criminal. Now, if a doctor, cuts a leg off or something like that, we could have gross negligence, which might turn that into something criminal. But the point is, he knows what he's doing. He's not going to get charged, more likely than not. But he was acting very unreasonably. Off label, what's up? Hey, loving the new visuals in the setup. Thank you, off label. Send you a few ideas to help you out. Thank you. I got your email. Yeah, some great tips in there. Contact info for last minute fixes if needed too. Keep it up. Thank you, off label podcast. Appreciate your thoughts, your tips, your support, and your input. And hopefully you're having great streams over there. Lil Kim Jong-un. Okay, so we're not racist here. We're not racist towards anybody. But we do want to be cognizant of the comment. And so Lil Kim Jong-un is a member of our community. So we want to read these in a way that's true to his intended delivery. But it's not racist at all. Hello, America. You send Comey here. I have place for him. He can make big rocks into small ones in my glorious camps. Have a nice day, America. Rob number 1. Democrat Stinky number 10. You tell Trump to come visit again. We have a good time, make history. Have a good weekend, America. Amazing, Lil Kim. Lil Kim Jong-un, member of our community. Thank you, Lil Kim. It's so nice of you to say that. They get along. Trump and Lil Kim Jong-un, they get along. Trump crossed the line of demarcation. What a nice person. Thanks for being here, Lil Kim. Hey, Teleplayer says, why is Comey's daughter involved in Diddy's trial? Because she runs the Southern District, basically. She's a U.S. attorney over there. So she handled that one. She handled the Galins. She's a very powerful person. Think about that. Like, she knows, she's got the whole case file. She's got the whole case file for Epstein, and now she's got the whole case file for Diddy. So she knows all the people who are involved in those disgusting sex freakazoids. She knows them all. She's a very powerful person. Jack Mack, what's up? Too much winning, says Trump. Trump, too much winning. It's true. Lots of winning going on. Good to see you, Jack Mack. Thanks for the dono and for the comment. Yeah, it's true. Lots of winning, man. That trip was, I think, pretty awesome. Lots of good stuff came out of that one. G-Men says, sounds like you have some building envy there, my guy. Building envy there. Are you talking about Kash Patel? Like we're getting out of this crap building? Or me? Oh, me. I do have building envy. Well, I have greatness envy. That's what it is. I mean, the buildings are just symbolic of greatness. I think talking about the Burj Dubai. Yeah, I do. I think that America should build amazing, great things and the best great things, like the biggest and the best. And it should be symbolic too, even if it's just kind of symbolic. We should have let other countries have bigger, better things than us. Like, that's ridiculous. Where's our competitive spirit? Instead, we have Dollar Tree stores going up everywhere and cheap Chinese crap. I don't want that crap. Niels, I think the opening of the Olympics will be a giant American marketing show that you're talking about. I think that will be a turning point for many. I hope so, Niels. Yeah, we should have like the biggest and the best things, and should be the fastest and the most efficient and the most free and the lowest regulation. We should have all of the things and be the best in every report. You just kind of sit back and say, well, like when the World Trade Center came down, like we built a new building there, it's great. We should have made that the most giant, statement in the whole stinking planet. It should have been the biggest building ever. But, just kind of like, it took forever to rebuild that. It's kind of like just a joke. You can't even build bathrooms in San Francisco. It takes 20 years and millions of dollars. Lil Kim Jong says Republicans betrayed gun owners again, and there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, who weren't going to turn out for the midterms. Republicans had a chance through parliamentary procedure to remove suppressors, short barrel rifles from the NFA, and end the registration of such items with the feds, and remove the $200 tax stamp required to buy them. Massive L for the Republican Party, and it's going to cost them. Says, remember when the DOJ said Comey violated the law by leaking classified information, and then in the same report said, it's cool, bro. He's a hero. Says, hey, the report found that Comey leaked contents of classified memos to his legal team, first orally, and then gave him an actual copy. But that's okay. It's James Comey, and they can do whatever they want. Yeah, it's good to be on the inside, man. You just exist in a whole different world where the rules don't apply to you. Thank you for those donos, Bill Kim. Hey, what's up? Cindy DeTore, 20 months as a member. Great to see you, Cindy DeTore. You know, that poop-bag Comey needs to be locked up. For Trump, Tulsi came out swinging on that one. Like, Tulsi, like, oh, yeah, lock him up. That memo went out immediately, right? They're going to go hard against Comey. Hopefully so. Jack Mack says, Comey can't expect us to think he shared that without knowing what 86 meant. I mean, what if it had been pro-Trump? It's a great point. Yeah, he knew damn well it was derogatory. What a Trump. Yeah, like, what does he think it means? Like, re-elect Trump for a third term? Like, pray for Trump? Donate to Trump? Support Trump? It doesn't mean any of those things. It means, who knows? No, Kim Jong-un. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not, because I'll send you to the gulag if I am. Okay? But Homeland can now subpoena Comey's phone and text messages and internet history and social media accounts. That's a great question. Documents that are related to that testimony, items and materials and evidence. Connecting with that basically they can go, the U.S. attorney can force him to answer their questions. Now, I don't know what authority that is under, or how that would work necessarily. Secret Service investigate any Secret Service investigation stuff. We did handle an ATF case once. ATF, we did mostly state law, but we had federal agents come in. We cleared it all up, and there was no problem. But it was, yeah. So, in other words, if they can issue a subpoena for his testimony, can they also get him on a subpoena for his phone and those things? He'll lawyer up. His attorneys will say it's all, not.
Well, remember, it's going to be for a couple of weeks. So tomorrow's my birthday, though. Big 5-4 tomorrow.
He was so 86 after Saturday night. Yeah, and I think it's like a lot of it was in rap music, wasn't it? You know, I think it's like all the 90s rap music. So kind of Cody's language. Comey's a total joke, says this old guy. But he's not a fool and he's not stupid. He knew exactly what he was posting, and the claim he did is an insult to everyone with half a brain. That means that even Joe Biden knew what it meant. But on one of his good days, Comey should be the show right now. Yeah, I think that's right. I think his position as an FBI agent imputes more liability, not less. It means the guy ran an agency that was posting memos about this stuff. Look at social media, there's massive terrorism, there's violent agreements, and they get on social media. So I would think that the intent can be more important than somebody who's Jack Mack, I think I have a real crush on Tulsi and LOL, and I'm 100% hetero. Yeah, well, I can understand that as a hetero man myself. Yeah. Not that you're a man, but I understand your point, right? She's an attractive and compelling individual, so I don't blame you on that one. I agree. Off label. Setting up shells is a moot point. The only way I'd allow it is if he called it out, not promote it. Remember all the angry Americans they locked up under Biden? I don't want to lose faith in Tulsi.
It's the left turn.
Well, I think if he sets it up, it's more
fucking idiot. You're an idiot.
Directive, right? Because he's saying it's an observation. He said it's an observation, so he didn't actually write that out. But if he did write that out, then it's like he's now writing a message and sending a message and saying it's not his message, and now there's kind of a lie embedded into that. Remember all the angry people? Yeah. Well, I appreciated Tulsi's aggressiveness on that. I'm glad that the administration's looking into it. I want to know more about it. Like, I want to know who set that up. Doan says we should have a full-blown investigation. Comb the beach. Doan Burrell. Comey projecting 86 of his
54.
right in his book. Isn't that book excerpt weird? That summation. Very weird. And then he posts something like that. T-Shot. What's up, T-Shot? Could Comey claim the seashells actually say LH98? We're reading it upside down from the other side of the shells. LH98. Yeah, it's like an acronym for, I don't know, a new element or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they'll explain other than he's just a moron who doesn't know what it means. Leonard says Comey actually wrote Silly Sally Sifting Sand by the Seaside. Wow. Like a Dr. Seuss book? That would probably be better than whatever crap he published. Thank you for that one, Leonard. ELZ says, I thought there was a law that says you can't profit from a crime. If Comey's found guilty of threats, should he lose all profits from his books? Yeah, I don't know if that's closely related enough. I think generally that's for like fraud, right? Like if you commit fraud, you steal $1 million, you go buy a bunch of cars, they will then forfeit the gains of the fraud. His post and threat, even though it might sell books, I don't know that it's like the profit and the selling of the books. I don't know if it's directly related to the crime in terms of causality. I understand that. Hard to profit though off your book sales when you're sitting in prison. What's up, Resin Waves? Hey, bye Veronica. Good to see you. Resin Waves, bye Veronica says the hair deal is actually belly dancers.
To be imposed nationally needed to go through the Supreme Court.
And well, as far as a court ruling, for a national ruling, you would need the national or the Supreme Court, which is why it's given the name Supreme. Thank you for the call. Let's see, Doug, New Jersey, go ahead.
Yeah, I honestly think Trump may do what your expert friend says the FBI would never do. Because the FBI has formulation now, leadership, and when you may have asked your friend who was in the know. I think the FBI is going to go after Comey. I think the FBI is going to take a battering ram at 4 a.m. in the morning and just like Roger Stone, bash his door down and put him in a 2x4. I really believe that. They're going to do it.
Well, the primary law enforcement agencies that would investigate threats against the president. Well, the primary agencies that would investigate.
That gun on her waist at some point is an accidentally blown. She's going to draw it out thinking it's a taser. She's going to have her finger on the trigger before she's ready to fire.
Yep.
Their handgun instead of their taser. Something you did made her feel threatened. You're taller. She feels threatened for her life. The only recourse she has is to shoot.
I mean, the number of cases, again, are there male cops out there that shouldn't be on the job? Yes. Female cops should not be on the streets, period. As Matt Walsh several years ago, of course, Media Matters had a meltdown about it. If you're a female officer, you are going to be easily overpowered by more than 50% of the population. Who, by the way, are more often, who's most often getting arrested? It's men. Which means, 80, 90% of the interactions an officer is going to have, a physical variety, is going to be with a man. Which means a female cop is going to get overpowered at 80 to 90%. I'm just making up that number, but it's obviously a large number. 80 to 90% of these interactions that you have, you will not be able to physically overpower that person. There are innumerable There are numerous examples. How about Kim Potter? Perhaps the most famous example. I thought it was a taser. Took a guy's life. You thought it was a taser? There are no scenarios in the world that you can pick up those two items and think they're the same. There are zero scenarios in the world where you pick up those two items and think they're the same thing. This is the origination of the taser person. I had another clip. This is just like 5 or 10 Google searches. There was another one where the female officer just took out a guy. Oh, yeah, right here. I retweeted it this morning. Here's another one. By the way, you know exactly before it happens. Right? Okay, they're struggling. Okay. Here's a female cop. Dead. I mean, what the? I mean, what? I mean, I don't really even understand. I don't know how much more I can, how many more examples I give you. Obviously, there's this male cop that thought an acorn falling out of a tree was, somebody, and he was doing all these barrel rolls and all this stuff. Yes, there are bad male cops. There are bad ones, and they should be off the streets too. But the female ones are never going to be in a position to succeed because they cannot physically overpower the vast majority of people that they're going to have to do that. Here's Matt's video. This is from earlier this year. I thought it was older than this.
I'm the first to say, usually when it comes to cases of alleged police brutality, I'm the first to say that I've said many times that if you just cooperate and comply, and if you're a reasonable person and a reasonable police officer, you're almost certainly going to be fine.
Generally.
Almost always, when someone ends up getting shot or hurt or an interaction with the cops, it's because they went out of their way at every turn to turn the situation into something violent and dangerous when it didn't need to be.
Correct.
But there are exceptions to every rule, and here is the exception. And this is an exception made possible by, of course, a female police officer. And look, I know that there are plenty of male police officers who do dumb things.
That's exactly my point, too.
But this is still the kind of thing that you inevitably get when you start bringing women into the force in the name of diversity and inclusion.
He's right.
I said EI action. This is what happened. And you can tell in that short clip from the body cam that this woman is very nervous.
Same exit, thank you, buddy.
So, how does a woman who's nervous get bloody gun?
Yeah. It's supposed to be about the video that when she was disarming a guy. I mean, look, I've seen plenty of male cops that are like 300 pounds that couldn't fight to save their lives either. I'm saying they should be off the force too. The women have zero chance in a physical altercation that does not involve them having to use lethal force. You know, it's gotta stop. We gotta stop pretending. Look, women are smart. They can do investigations on crime scenes. They can be investigators. They can do a lot of jobs in the police force.
Should be back up now.
It can't be. Can't be. Just it can't happen. That goes for overweight male cops too. Male cops who have bad tendencies to do stuff too. It's just gotta stop. Now with my luck, I'll be pulled over by a female cop later who's seen this video. Just remember my name, boys. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. What happened with Adam Conover today? What's this? $10 on the line for Adam Conover to joke about Islam and grooming gangs in the UK. What happened here?
As he saw it on anybody, he could have forced it on a comedian, right? Who's in town and goes on stage and says, "Hey, you know what? I disagree with this or that." Or, "Hey, I just did shows in the UK and Amsterdam, and I made fun of UK politics to me from American politics."
Guaranteed.
Go to the UK and knock Islam. Well, I don't have any jokes about Islam.
Why not? They got Pakistani grooming gangs raping little girls. Why won't you go to the UK?
Yes.
Why won't you
They
go
do.
to the UK and make jokes about Islam?
I don't think it's very funny. I don't have any jokes about it.
He's being a pussy.
So
He's being obtuse. Is that what it is?
Okay, let me help. I'm confused. Are there jokes that can be made about Islam?
Wait, I don't want to.
He won't answer it.
Scared. Oh, no. You're terrified. You're a hypocrite. What? You can make about Islam. Muhammad banged a little girl, right?
Uh-oh.
I'm
9-year-old.
I'm terrified of this subject. I'm not. No, I'm not.
In the UK, you can be jailed for making jokes about Islam or even bring up the grooming gangs. There are people who go online and pointed out that a stabbing was carried out by.
Oh, this is going to be memes. This is going to be This is going to be memes.
By a Muslim, and they got arrested. I'll bet you $1,000 you will not go to the UK and make a joke about any of this stuff. Because you will not go to a foreign country and, in violation of their laws, speak out against what they've said not to speak out against. Do it. I dare you.
Yeah.
$10,000. Cash in your pocket. You go to the UK.
All you can do is laugh.
Muhammad having a 12-year-old wife.
This we got here faster than I thought we would in this conversation.
He's out. He's completely shitting his pants. Tim W. Yeah, W's in the chat for Tim. I mean, why don't you ask the people at Charlie Hebdo? Hedgebo? Was it Charlie Hebdo or Hedgebo? Whatever that was. Ask them what they think about making jokes about Islam and Muhammad. Yeah, W's in chat. Yeah.
Where you're shouting at me about something I don't understand.
He doesn't understand. Basically, everybody knows that meme about Muhammad. Yeah, everybody knows.
I don't really understand how you would think it's.
Yes, he does.
Do you think anybody watching this right now thinks you are confused by the notion that in the UK you go to jail for mocking Islam?
Right. Yeah. Aggressive squints.
I don't understand how we got onto you shouting at me about Islam specifically. I'd like to return to.
Okay, it's because you said people should be allowed to come to this country and speak out against it. And you said you're a comedian, and you go to other countries, right? And you said you go to the UK, and I said, okay, if you go to the UK, speak out in violation of their laws and see what happens. And you said, I'm confused, I don't understand. Don't you understand?
He knows he's got him.
He knows he's got him. Speak out against Islam?
I mean,
no.
If I have a joke to make sure, I don't have a joke about those particular topics.
You would.
I would.
You're saying if you had a joke about?
Oh yeah. Sure, I would try to do the best I can. I was trying to poke the bear as much as I can.
Oh no, he doesn't.
Because.
Oh no. Oh no. People said he was worried about Tim's money. What was that? What was that about? What was that? Yeah, wiggle. Yeah, that was. He put his head in his hand because he's like, shit. Damn it. Oh, he brought up $10. independent. Tim didn't know. I fully believe, like, I've criticized him and will criticize him when I think it should be, he should be, and he would do the same about me. I never believed for 1 second that Tim knew that money was from Russia. I never for 1 second believed that. I remember this guy going on. Remember this clip? He was on Joe Rogan. Yeah, this one. Oh, wait, no. Where they were talking about, here.
Using it to add hormones to a child body, that's a choice.
It's a choice on it's a choice on the part of the parent. It's not a choice on the part of the child. So like, in the same way that being gay isn't a choice.
Okay, but if that's who they are, if they think that they're a girl, why do you have to give them hormones to make them more of a girl?
Boom.
Because
Sorry. Yeah, he did it there. The aggressive squinting.
it's just a question.
Yeah.
You say that the child thinks it's a girl, so you're going to give the child hormones. If the child thinks it's a girl,
They don't need hormones.
But you don't have. Why are you adding hormones? If
Right.
You're shooting hormones into a child, and you're affecting the child's development. You're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course, it's a choice.
Yes,
you're
it is.
choosing to chemically change this child's body. You're choosing to inject things into this child's body on a regular basis that are going to radically affect the physical development of their body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this is a choice. You're using it to add hormones to a child's body.
It is. I mean,
It's a choice on
it absolutely is a choice. Aggressively squinting. I now know that, like.
Anytime, brother, anytime.
Tim Pool, I now have discovered a new method to say you have you're, what should I say, intellectually dishonest. You're an intellectually dishonest power. That would be the aggressive squint, you know. It's very, very good. How's everybody's Friday going? We have a little bit of a shorter show today because I have to go help my mom with some stuff. Just help her do some heavy lifting and stuff around her house. So I'm going to go help mom a little bit today. I also thought we could do something fun, but I don't know. I feel like maybe people are going to get butthurt about it. That's okay too. But what do you guys got going on? What do you guys got going on this weekend? Curious. Start spring cleaning stuff. We definitely got a good jump on spring cleaning. Got a lot left to do though. Got a lot left to do. Lots. What do you guys have going on? Yeah, my spelling is very bad. Misspelling is my culture. That's true. Don't be a bigot. Ruby's in jail today with me. She attacked our other female dog. The other female dog is like still cowering in the corner like 4 hours later. JJ from Iowa says female cops are also much quicker to escalate dangerous situations since they're quite literally always at a power disadvantage. True. Takes how much you want to bet that female cop is a strong independent woman who don't need a man? 100% chance. Something Woody says there is another incident not dissimilar in terms of crazy from that happened in Ohio, where male was overpowered. Now ragging on you, but when shit hits the fan, it stinks no matter whose it is. That's true. That's true. Ruined my brain cells because I sat through Adam Conover brain melt on Tim's Culture War episode. I genuinely lost 59 IQ points. Dynamite Blood says every female cop I've ever witnessed in the interaction is someone on a power trip. Male cops do it too. The females are like 100%. Omega says it was a full misconception of what happened with Orange. Jen, oh yeah, this is because no one on the left ever bothered to look into that. They're just like, oh, Russia. Lobs Games says Adam acted like being deported back to their home country was equivalent of being charged with a crime and locked up for 4 years. I saw that exchange. Yeah, barbecuing. Yeah, I'd like to barbecue this weekend too.
It's a fucking swarm there.
Their male partners are always trying to white knife them too. That's because they're fucking. That's because their male partners.
No, I've never seen it.
I bet you many of those scenarios. Why can Timcast go live on YouTube on Fridays too, but you can't? It'd be a great way to promote the Rumble show and grow your channel. More on that soon. A few minutes only reading headlines, no real deep diving on topics. Can't stand it. Why go and debate that? That's so weird. I give Adam credit for going on the shows. You know? You canceled the cookout quarter pounders for the quartering. This weekend I'm pretty busy. I got, you know how I moved all those games out to my shed? Well, I moved half of them into the storage container. Now I bought an angle grinder so I can cut holes into the storage container and put solar fans into it. That's my plan for the weekend. Put solar fans and cut holes for solar fans and solar lights on top of the storage container. So then after that, I'm going to build a deck on top. First time watching the quartering, definitely appreciate the inclusion chats, baby. Yep. The one thing I do different on my show is I interact with chat. So that's, that's Jeremy's extra piece today. Why does it keep me out? I'm not. Wait, me? I feel like I'm kind of burnt out from the week. It's a long week. Mow the lawn, weed some garden boxes. Yeah. Lots of stuff to do. We got some stuff to talk about with Diddy. I see the Diddy case looks like it's falling apart. By the way, Fridays are usually my lazy day. Monday through Thursdays, I'm alive at 2 o'clock Eastern with a variety of co-hosts. So, make sure you follow that. Here's where the camera is just let us watch the home progression. I thought about doing a vlog.
Should be good now.
Work on the storage container because I thought it might be kind of helpful.
I got the air blast. Got it.
It's convenient. You ignored a couple of my chats in the past. Well, I mean, I interact when I can. Mega, I feel like I always give you the time of day. I wouldn't say I ignore them. Sometimes I don't see them. I'm live at 2 Eastern. I'm live at 2 Eastern, yeah. Still waiting for the hermit crab cam. I mean, that could be cool. Well, you had dog issues last Friday, short because of issues. Wait. LOL, you had dog issues, and last Friday your short was short because of issues. What do you mean? Am I not allowed to help my mom? I don't get it. It says, sorry to double ramp, but for some reason, Apple iPhone keeps crashing. Please pass it on, that would be dope. Wait, what did I miss? It's like 80 in Wisco, so it's steak night tonight. Yeah, it is night. I'll probably go out tonight. I thought I read your GG. Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, but he's not charged with that. They haven't proved shit of it as far as any of his charges. Yeah, he's a pervert, but most of Hollywood is that way.
The thought grifter finder, yeah. Okay, so The more I watch this Diddy trial, the more I'm convinced that the prosecution is spiking this case on purpose. There was new testimony late yesterday, earlier today, that to me seems pretty, pretty sloppy. And the cross-examination essentially got the prosecution's star witness, who has been on the stand for 4 straight days, got the star witness to basically admit that she was a willing participant of said freak-offs. We also had some other Hollywood celebrities' names, NFL players, and Justin Bieber issuing a statement. But for me, it seems awfully. With every day that passes, this trial feels more and more like a nothing burger. I'm going to start with some of the reaction from Cassie. Firstly, to people finding out that they had tapes of said freak-offs. Jurors heard a recording of Cassie screaming at a friend who said that he had seen a video of her performing these acts. In the recording, Cassie was made by Cassie in 2013. The man claimed to have video on his phone. Cassie was heard pleading to see the video, and then threatened to take his life if it ever became public. I've never taken anyone's life in my life, but I will end yours, Cassie told the man, punctuating her threats with profanities. Cassie acknowledged in her testimony that Combs subsequently made offers to keep the videos private. Also, multiple new escorts have been brought to light. Cassie then also admitted to participating in a freak-off with Jonathan Audi, the guy that went around spraying lead around the Trump Hotel. Willing participant. A willing participant. This is crazy. His family is shooting a documentary behind the scenes because I believe they think he's not going to get convicted. Then they showed pictures, I assume very spicy ones, to the jury. Female jurors swallowed hard and appeared to move her head to the side. Why would they need to see those pictures? I'm not exactly sure. Diddy had also said that he is proud of his lawyer as she grilled Cassie on the stand. On Thursday, Diddy mentioned his lawyer, Anna Estavio, that he was proud of her for the work she was doing in the case. The message was caught on a hot mic in the courtroom. Estavio confronted Cassie with loving emails and text messages that she and the hip-hop mogul had exchanged early on. You and Diddy were in love for 11 years, right? Was the first question from Diddy's lawyer. Yes. You loved him? Yes. You believed he loved you? Yes. She also continued. One line of particularly damning exchange, Cassie wrote in a text to Diddy in March 2017, please don't play the victim. That's all you wanted. That's why I was upset. I love our freak-offs when we both won it. There are other text messages where she's literally setting them up. So exactly what about this is her being there against her will? Here said after 3 days of grueling days on the stand, R&B singer Cassie Ventura is set to finally wrap up today. They've made no claims, no charges of trafficking or racketeering, which is what he's actually charged for. Comey's daughter is doing a absolutely horrendous job, and it's making me think that she's doing that bad of a job on purpose. It's legitimately making me think she's doing this bad of a job on purpose. Diddy's lawyer called Ventura the most important witness in a very important case on Thursday after she was made to read hundreds of shockingly spicy, loving texts and emails that she exchanged with Diddy when they dated, as she was grilled about another of his attorneys, Anna Estavio. The defense has 5 hours Friday to finish their cross-examination of Ventura, who is 8 months pregnant, facing life in prison. For what? For what? Now they brought up Chris Brown, by the way, who's in jail again for hitting somebody today, by the way. So they brought up Chris Brown, some NFL player, saying Cassie underwent same trauma therapy used by Prince Harry. So what? So what? And they've got nothing left. Dawn Richard, a member of Diddy's creative group, Danny Kane, never heard of it, is expected to testify. Richard claims that the disgraced bad boy mogul put his hands on her.
He was all over it. And he's carrying compressed hydrogen.
Adequately.
It's fucking nuts.
Maybe
That
this
shit's
seems like
explosive.
another thing. Just another nothing burger that this is going to end up being. By the way, that's not what he's on trial for. He's not on trial for being a dick. He's not even on a trial for SA. He's on trial for racketeering and trafficking. The judge is even getting sick of it. The judge complained to the lawyers during the 10-minute break that Diddy lawyer Anastavio's cross-examination has been interrupted too many times by disputes. The judge has now said that the prosecution is dragging their feet. The judge has tried to clear the way for jurors to be brought in on time for what had hoped to be Cassie's last day on the stand. In the video, Combs said that he has God in his heart. The judge watched it and decided the argument was moot because the defense agreed not to show the video to the jury. One item to dispute, a recording that Combs made when he went to rehab after a March 26th attack on Cassie in an elevator. Prosecutor Emily Johnson said the video showed Combs wandering through nature as he spoke of religion and God. She described it as an effort by Combs' lawyer to seek sympathy from the jury. Well, maybe that's why you made sure to have an 8.5-month pregnant woman on the stand. There's nothing. This case is falling apart. People keep telling me, Jeremy, they're just establishing character. They're just establishing character. They're gonna drop some bombs soon. Okay, when and for what? Justin Bieber now came out to say that he's not among those on the list. So Bieber issued a statement to TMZ saying that he's not a Diddy victim. Well, okay, maybe just because he said he isn't doesn't mean he is, but that certainly is. He's coming out to say he isn't. There was this initial video where he's like, "Don't talk about what we do here." For the Jimmy Kimmel Live, this thing.
This is the type of indictment you would expect from some United States government.
You're working together? I'm not. I mean, I think that we've become friends in a strange way. Yeah. Exactly. To a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that we definitely have our arms around. We want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person. Besides his talent, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know. Just you.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird. The fact that this guy that went on his spree in the Trump hotel. That's probably the biggest thing that's come out of the story. But Justin has come out to say, nope, nothing weird ever happened. I don't know. I think he was probably groomed. The line says he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with his big brother Puff on national television. Combs said, everything ain't for everybody. This was the clip I was looking for.
And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody.
Last word.
That doesn't necessarily mean that he's, it just means that maybe they're getting up to no good, riding ATVs or whatever. But,
Or amid Diddy's arrest, these moments reiterate the conversation, sparking speculation.
It's definitely a 15-year-old's dream that we gonna go full crazy. Crazy.
I'll be right back.
I mean, I'm guessing he was probably getting them laid, grooming them maybe. I don't know. But again, he's not on trial for that. He's not on trial for that. So I'm feeling that this trial is a sham. Until there's any real evidence of racketeering or trafficking, which is what he's supposedly on trial for, there's nothing to talk about. So Diddy's a degenerate, and his girlfriend participated in it. Okay, so big deal. You know, Britney Spears was around that. She's crazy now. Bieber was around it. He's crazy now. Could it be related? Sure. Could it not be? Sure. I think that here's I will go with it. Here's my conspiracy theory. I'm saying it's a conspiracy theory, but I'm starting to think it's true. I think there were tapes. I think there were politicians that were participating in these parties. I think there were people who are powerful in Hollywood who were participating in these freak-offs. I think the arrest was just to get those tapes and destroy them. I think that they are not going to come up in court. I don't think that he's going to suffer any conviction whatsoever. I think he might get 6 months, a year, plead down to time served.
you asking, Rumble? What is the smallest island in the world? The UK is awesome. It's island nation, I guess. Yeah, it's not really that small. I mean, it's not the size of Texas. If you combine all the different things. Oh, what happened to the stream?
I don't know why on earth. Where is all this traffic? Where are the hundreds of people who are participating in this? We spent a full week of what they said is only going to be a 2-week trial talking about him and his girlfriend being freaks. As far as I know, nothing illegal happened between them. Why are they spending so much time on her?
All right, I'm going to go get something to eat.
Ellen was his best friend. Ellen's coming back to the United States. She's not worried. I think that there's other evidence that they wanted to get their hands on, and now it's gone. If the trial is 8 weeks, like some people are saying, okay, fine. But I have not been moved by any trial this week, and I don't think anybody in the jury is either. I don't think they've moved to get a conviction at all. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. The Regrind says it's Comey's daughter. Diddy was an asset. They made a deal. She's throwing the case. He keeps his mouth shut, and when they're done with him, they'll delete him. Also shilling at the Regrind. Yeah, I could see that. Like, legitimately, I can see that. What do you think, chat? Do you think that we're going to see anything of substance in this trial at all? Legitimate question. Are we going to see literally anything? Is Diddy going to do any time? One if yes, two if no. Two means we're not seeing Diddy squat.
Diddy squat.
Because it's been a week. And this was like his main chick, right? So, what exactly is there to look at? I don't understand. But what crimes have been alleged even? I think they're throwing it on purpose. And he's going to get. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to get time served at most. I mean, they denied him bail like he was like a super villain. He didn't even kill anybody. Carmelo Anthony got let out. I don't buy it. I think he's not getting any time. I think they're throwing this. I think they're throwing the Diddy case.
They're going to get some wings
like
or steak. I'm trying to decide right now. I'm looking at my phone here. Let me turn this around.
We also know there was no drugs in the baby oil. Correct. We also know that. He's a piece of shit and a degenerate. Okay, but last I checked, that's not illegal. By the way, I also had one similar favor for you guys. We've got a couple hundred of these gift boxes left on Coffee Rank Coffee. It's starting to get hot out. The chocolate covered espresso beans are going to melt. It's 20% off plus free overnight shipping. It is our blueberry cobbler. It is our Colombian roast. There's a K-cup adapter. It also has the only place you can get our chocolate covered espresso beans and yogurt covered pretzels and delicious honey sticks. I would really like to move the last couple hundred of these so I don't have to have them melting on people's porches. And you would be helping immensely if you picked it up today. They are definitely throwing the case, no question. That's how I feel too. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. How many of you think they're just throwing this case? Jeremy, you said you were going to take a break from chilling. in the segments. I only shilled coffee twice this whole week, and I shilled it in 0 segments. Let's see here. Cassie had sores and constant UTI. She was made to do freak offs when she did not want to for 48 hours straight at times. Wrong. The text messages indicate that she did, in fact, want to. Jeremy, I'm usually not a fan of flavor coffee, but obviously the blueberry cobbler with creamer and the honey stick is damn good. Yeah, it is. Definitely is. The right wing cope is at 245%, climbing 150% a day. What is a right wing cope? That I don't get it. Didn't that wildfire in LA destroy one of Diddy compounds? I had heard something like that. Of course, he's talking about coffee. You guys get too fucking triggered about the coffee ads. I mentioned it twice all week. I gave you 10 straight hours of live streaming and 25 standalone segments without coffee ads. I mentioned it once and people throw their hands in the air. Like, I just can't with that. I'm not going to apologize for it. Her testimony says otherwise. I have not seen that. What I saw were text messages of her saying, scheduling freak offs and saying that she wanted to do it. You know? Do you have a snip of, do you have to snip the end of the honey sticks? Yes, we do. I'm gonna go grab something really quick and we're gonna do something that I think is fun. Buy some coffee while I'm gone. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. 1 minute. Here's the link. Hold on a sec. I gotta let my dog go.
All right. It's pretty close. This place is pretty close we're going to. Chicken wings. Have a great day, Tiff.
All right. Attack the other one. And like, she didn't like hurt her. You know, who put those seashells there? Didn't he try to say he just happened to find that shit? Isn't that what he said? Didn't he call me to say, oh, I just found this? I just happened to find this thing. There's just some seashells and like he definitely didn't do it.
You know exactly what that means. A child knows what that means. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that means, you're confident enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so hard. Because people like me, they like what's happening with our country. Our country's become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he was
apologized
for violence. But
look, he's a very
what do you want to see happen? What do you want to see happen?
I don't care for that guy, by the way. Why are you trying to cut Trump off? He's allowed to respond to this guy. Wasn't James Comey behind the spying on Trump in 2015? Am I remembering that right? Didn't he JJ from Iowa says, do you have to snip the end of the honey stick? Yes. I thought I answered that. You do. Yes. The rerun says, oh, I got that one. Thank you. Comey's daughter. Yeah. I know what he meant, like get rid of. I think it wouldn't stand up in court as like an actual death threat. The 8 miles out, 6 feet deep is one interpretation of that meeting. Prop 4 points out that's correct, but it's also from the food service industry. 86 the special. We're out of the specials. 86 ribeye, we're out of ribeyes. Whatever the case is. I don't care and investigate him. And maybe they'll find something to sue him for or charge him.
Tulsi Gabbard's the director of national intelligence. Are you buying that the former FBI director didn't know what 86 Trump meant?
Absolutely not, Jesse. That is a ridiculous and insane statement to make, certainly within this context, but especially coming from the director of the FBI, a guy who spent most of his
How do you eat the honey as a plainer for the coffee? You can put it in the coffee if you want. It's flavored honey. I would just eat them like regular.
career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, people who know and execute other humans and use this exact lingo of 86. Comey himself admitted in his follow-on message that he knew that this was a political statement. Well, the only reason he knew that, Jesse, was because a little over a month ago, a bunch of anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk protesters were proliferating the use of this 8647 slogan, which was a veiled call to action to murder the sitting president of the United States. So for Comey to think that we, the American people, are so stupid as to think that he, as a former FBI director, former prosecutor, and someone who clearly pays attention to what's going on, would believe his lie that he didn't know what this actually was calling for. The dangerousness of this, Jesse, cannot.
I mean, I agree. Him playing stupid is wild. He knew what it meant. That's why I don't care if he, gets investigated or whatever the case may be, I don't care if he gets investigated. I mean, you can't put him in jail for that tweet, I don't think. But you put a lot of people in jail for J6 that, didn't even trespass. They put oh my God, why did I forget his name right now? Owen Schroyer in prison. He never even entered the Capitol. They put him in for rhetoric, didn't they? Comey then deleted his Instagram account. Of course he did. Mom says tonight, 6 p.m., 7 Culture, Mild Culture Plate. There you go. It's $20 a shill, by the way, just so you know. You owe me 10 more. I wanted to try. Today's a little bit of a shorter show, but I wanted to try something. You guys know that I play a lot of, or that I love trading card games, right? A lot of you know that. Well, I don't know if you knew about this new game that's called Trade. I'm not shilling for it. It's not a paid ad. I just wanted to play for a few minutes on stream and veg out for once with my viewers. Did you know that you could open your own trading card game or trading card store? Did you know that? Did you know that? I've always dreamed of owning my own trading card store. And I thought, just to kind of bring home something low key, we would open one together. I let you guys vote on the name, the product that we store, and see how we do. Is that something you guys think you'd find kind of fun? I've never played it before. So let's see what happens here. We've gone completely unhinged. Looks like we've got an empty space here. Okay. Look here. I quit my day job to open my own card game store. This is it. Time to get down to business. All right.
All right.
What do we call it? Oh boy. What do we call it, boys? What do we call it? Sports card. Maybe I can carry sports cards. I don't know. I've never.
I'm heading out. I'm gonna grab a bite. I might put on the backup channel on the rest of the way home. I'm only a mile and a half from where I was just at, so this place is called Jersey's. It's got TVs and beer and wings. I'm gonna grab this. The wife is napping. She's not feeling well again today. So peace. Love you guys.